One of them relates to the central government, and it has to do with kind of the legacy of taxation. So the most concerns which are raised is about whether it is the income tax system or the GST or the customs, because these systems by historical nature operate as revenue maximizing agencies. But the need of hour is not to keep on raising more and more revenues. It is to make the system very simple and predictable for the manufacturing sector particularly. So the way I think of manufacturing is as a driver of growth for the next 10 to 15 years. Now there's what does driver mean? Driver means it is an impulse which will raise the entire GDP. So when manufacturing grows, other things will also grow. So the actual, if in my way of looking at it, if we do it successfully, other things will also rise. So the share may not go up that much, because share is not important. It's the drive which it promotes, which gives you growth, which is the important thing. So that is the first thing I would say. But having said that, there are many things, but I would emphasize two which have kind of come out in the time I traveled across the country. One of them relates to the central government, and it has to do with kind of the legacy of taxation. So the most concerns which are raised is about whether it is the income tax system or the GST or the customs, because these systems by historical nature operate as revenue maximizing agencies. But the need of hour is not to keep on raising more and more revenues. It is to make the system very simple and predictable for the manufacturing sector particularly. So one area of reform, I think, despite all the simplifications which have been done over the last 10 or more years actually, this aspect still keeps coming up. So the way I have suggested in one of my papers earlier, which I was showing you, is that we could use AI to completely transform the whole tax system. I think there is a lot of resistance to that. I call it e-Kautilya system. So I have outlined that system. Now, but we need not go into details. So the second part is at the state level, because all the manufacturing, production, input, outputs happen at the local level. So it is very important for starting a new company, the land, the local infrastructure, the connectivity, everything has to be provided by the government. For extending the thing, for maintaining it, it's all interaction with state government bureaucracy. So what I have observed is the states which genuinely welcome manufacturing and facilitate it, do much better than those which is just chalta hai. So basically I would say these two reforms in a way are critical if we are to become a manufacturing power. So one of the changes in policy which have occurred over the last decade or so is the recognizing the importance of FTA with developed countries whose economies are complementary to India. So you have all seen that spate of EU FTAs starting with Australia, UK, New Zealand, even UAE is to some extent a developed country, and now with New Zealand and the effort with EU and the ongoing effort with USA. So the basic idea is to have a FTA with complementary economies, which not only promotes trade, export and import, but brings or develops trusted supply chains. That's what I want to emphasize, that it is not a question only of trade, but also of investment in supply chains which will supply the market of these developed countries. So in that sense, we have done an analysis which I'm still working on. I was working on it while you were when you came. Is that which are the countries which have the most imports of manufactured goods? There are basically three, but there's a big difference between a level and increment. So on the level, there are three countries which have the maximum import of manufactured goods, which is USA, EU, and China. But if you look at the incremental imports, that means the increase in imports over the last 10 years, say, then it's only US and EU. China's imports have been nil or actually almost on a declining path. So that is the FTAs which are going to be most important, because initially when these supply chains shift, they need an existing market. In future, it will be the growth of India, but right now, so our incremental growth is very good. But to start the process, you need scale. So that is why the existing manufacturing importers, which is basically the EU and US, are the two most important. Given that US FTA is still some way away, I think the EU is critical, which is why myself and everybody have been urging the Europeans to accelerate their process. Really, the processes are more complicated on the EU side. Our processes are now relatively simple once it has been agreed. So I would say the EU FTA for this year and next year is the most important.